Right, I think fingers crossed, we're live on Facebook. So thank you, people, for tuning in. As you can see, I've got CJ from the Wildhearts, possibly to be joined by Ginger later, not lately. What we thought we'd do, maybe CJ will say hello.
Hey, how you doing?
What I thought we'd do is just, as a bit like when you come to a gig, people amble in a bit late and look at their shoes and look embarrassed. We're going to play a video to start with as people arrive. I'm going to share the stream through in that bit. But maybe CJ would introduce the video, which is Dislocated, which I chose because it's a fantastic album. And then looking at you on Spotify, it's got more listens than any of your other releases, I think.
I really like that song as well. So here it is, Dislocated.
Right, and it will take me a second to share and get it right. Oh, sorry, I'll have to. Eventually, we'll get there.
Hey, the joys of the modern era.
Yes, I should have a team of experts doing this for me, really, instead of one person who isn't an expert.
But they'd have 2 meter long arms, though, to press.
Yeah, share computer sound, otherwise it doesn't work. Here we go, Dislocated at last, and play and full screen.
So alive yet dead inside, but no
What a great way to start. And the other great news is that during that track, Ginger joined us. Hi, Ginger. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Ginger.
Who was that?
Oh, some band, I don't know. Yes. They were good, weren't they? I'd like to thank all the people who are watching. There's loads and loads of people watching. It's fantastic. Please, I will try to take notice of your questions, but there's so many coming in, they're disappearing up the screen.
Hey, Ginger, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
It's good. It's really good to see you.
It's really weird, isn't it?
It's real. God, we haven't seen each other in months.
I know. I just assumed you were dead.
No, I'm alive, looking after my boy. Is that Taylor next to you?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Hi, Taylor.
How you doing?
All right.
I just got to do this quickly for Josh, because Josh is. Look, Josh, who's that?
Ah.
Who's that? It's Harvey.
Cheers.
It's really Cheers, man.
Yeah, it is great to see you again.
It's good to see you anyway.
Yeah, and you.
So, people who just joined us, thanks for doing so. This is, as you can see, CJ and Ginger. I'm Richard Rose. I run a little fanzine called Repeat Fanzine, which was set up in '94, thinking about the Manic Street Preachers. But it was in '92 I first saw the Wildhearts, and since then I have put them on a couple of gigs, interviewed them, put on various offshoot bands. I'm not an expert, as some people who are watching are, so I have to say that before we carry on. Just a massive fan, and I'm really pleased that they agreed to come and talk to me. I've got a few questions. If you want to send them in as well, that'd be great.
Are you still a bigger fan of the Manics than the Wildhearts?
I couldn't possibly comment. The new album, let's start with this, actually, because the new album is stunning. And I haven't said that about a Manics album for a long time.
Album?
Sorry? Your new album is
our new album.
Yes.
Our new album.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
because it's a truth.
I'm gonna jump to this question then, rather than what I was going to ask. The reaction to Renaissance men. I'm going to quote somebody who sent this in advance. This is Joel Morgan, who is in a band in Swansea where I live called
Morgan.
Joel.
Morgan.
This is what he said. If this doesn't affect you, I don't know what will. Joel says, I personally went through every emotion known to man the first time I listened to Renaissance Men. I cried like a baby. It was so good. I was so fucking proud and so happy for them. By the time it got to My Kind of Movie, I was beating the table with both hands and bellowing out the window. Is that the reaction you've mostly had?
Did he shit himself as well?
I don't know. Joel, can you comment on that? Were you surprised with how well that album's been received?
Yes, very. I mean,
yes, I would say yes.
Yeah, it was 10 years since we last made an album, and we didn't know what people were going to think of it. And we'd be lying if we said we weren't happy with the reaction.
Well, we knew it was good. I mean, we knew it was. We were happy with it. We were happy with the sound and everything. But there's so many things getting in the way. It took a lot longer to make than we'd planned on doing. So you know, I think we planned on doing the whole thing in a week, and it ended up taking months because of various different problems. And so we knew we liked it, but it's like the first album, wasn't it, CJ? When we put the first album out, and it was like, we didn't even know it was not good. We didn't even know it was going to be that popular. We had no idea it was going to be that popular.
None whatsoever. None. You know, I mean, we were still fighting to get back in the studio and record it for real, because they were just demos, you know, versus.
First one, yeah.
Yeah, you know, but it's great when you work on any piece of music and it comes out and people like it. I mean, that's what you do it for, isn't it?
I tell you what, it's like there's especially after this amount of time, and we've been around the block a lot longer than you probably think we have, because we look so young. But you know, it's deceptive how long we've been around.
It's a long time. Like 31 years ago, we spoke about doing this, Ginge. So
yeah,
yes, it's a long time.
You don't expect things to go well after this long, and you forget how long you've been around. I mean, you think there'd be like, you know, people putting like warrants out for us to just stop and get a proper job by now or something. But it's great that we still get to do this, you know, and hopefully get to play live soon.
Yes. I'm dying.
Whatever.
Well, I was saying to CJ before we started that I was slightly surprised that Dislocated has got a lot more listens on Spotify than anything else of yours, and it's a brand new track. Are you surprised that it sort of outclipped your back catalogue, which is fantastic? Shows you're still
but surely that's what you want. You want your new music to be getting out there to more people. You know, it's great. I think it's a great achievement, and you know, it's a really good song as well. So I like it a lot.
Thank goodness. So how do you think you could follow up Renaissance Men, as it's been so incredibly popular? Is it possible to do a follow up?
A follow up? Yeah. Well, I was just about to say that the one song I didn't think should have been on the album ended up being Diagnosis, which was one of the more popular songs on the album. So I'm always wrong about that sort of stuff. But as far as a follow up, I'm trying to write nothing. I'm trying to just, I want to get in a room with the guys, and I want to get in on a vibe. Obviously it's very strange times at the moment, so I don't think any of us could be saying, well, let's make a happy album. You know, there's a lot to be angry about, and it's just going to be. Yeah. I can't tell you what it's on
the same page, Ginger, when it comes to the next album. It's definitely going to be, you know, an angry punk album. You know, the stuff I'm working on has a certain angst to it, and you know, it reflects the current times we're living in and what we're going through right now, and how some people feel, you know, about it. Others, it's a holiday. To others, it's completely, you know, fuck their lives up.
Yeah.
And you know, it's I'm not seeing my girlfriend in almost 3 months. I'm not going to be writing like lullabies on an acoustic guitar.
No. It is weird. We've just been out to this little place in York that are selling draft beer. I've had my first draft beer for months.
Yeah, a lot of people take away beer.
Yeah. Well, just everyone's on the park, just, you know, they're maintaining social distancing, and everyone's on the park, keeping you know, apart from each other. And it was just the little things. There's going to be so many little things like that coming back. That's going to just make people start getting happy again. So, you know, I don't think this disease, by any stretch of the imagination, is anywhere near over. We're expecting a second wave at any point, but I do think people are going to probably start getting a bit happier.
Yeah, I think there's a way we're gonna have to find a way to live with it, and you know, it's not something which is just going to go away. And you know, I mean, we could talk all day about, you know, the cock ups.
Yeah.
But
I don't think anyone wants to hear it.
I can see your lights. You know?
We were saying just before we started about the danger of sending the schools back too early and all those worries and so on. What I was going to start by asking is, as soon as I announced this was happening, the most common question was, how are you all? Are you taking care of yourselves? Are you feeling all right? And how are you coping? Are you surprised that you've inspired such a level of love and devotion from your fans, that they really genuinely care for you?
See, when we put the band together, you know, the bands that we looked up to were like, you know, whether it was Jason and the Scorchers or the Descendants or stuff like that. It was all small, it was club bands basically. So we never had any aspirations to be a huge band. We just wanted to be appreciated. Hello. And it's the best thing in the world is that after all this time, people still appreciate the group.
Our fans are like our fans are just, they're really special, and they're really. I did an interview a few days ago, and they said what are Wildheart fans, what they like, and I said, well, if you cut them, they're going to bleed Wildhearts. That's what I like. They're just so loyal, and me and Ginger wouldn't be here talking today, you know, if it wasn't for them. You know, it might not be the biggest fan base in the world, but it's the loudest and craziest, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
And very loyal.
Very, yeah.
Ginger, if you want, you might want to put your camera up a little bit because we can see your beard very nicely. We can't see your face, but it's up to you.
Oh, really?
If you're 20, you're showing off your beard.
I'm told that my beard is the best part of my face, but I'm probably just taking it a little bit too seriously. So let me just are we good there?
Nice, excellent. See both of you nicely. Yes. With the discharge hat as well. Right. I was going to ask you. Sorry. What advice would you give to your 21-year-old selves if you were to meet them at a gig?
What's that?
What advice would you give to your 21-year-old selves if you saw them playing at a gig and you would advise them how to progress and make a career out of music like you've managed to do?
You can say that to anyone.
We used to laugh at when people used to give us advice or used to tell us off or tell us what we should and shouldn't do. We just universally laugh at them and just be like, there's nothing that we're going to do that's not going to be natural to how we are. We're not that kind of band. We've never been able to kind of force ourselves into a political shit, into a successful shape. It's exactly the way it should have been done. It's had the ups and downs it should have had. I wouldn't have given any advice to myself at 21 because I probably would have just done myself.
If we had done things differently, we probably wouldn't be still working together, Ginge, right now. And you know, the fact that we're still making music and, you know, doing shows, so it's come good.
And we're still excited about doing music. I'm still excited about the next record. We've seen an awful lot of bands come and go in our years, and the ones that are still here, not many of them are excited about anything.
No, that's true. No comment. Yes. So I don't know if I've got this right. You're furloughed at the moment. Who would have thought when you were 21 that you could set yourselves up like almost like a business and make a living out of rock and roll? When you first strapped on a guitar, did you think, oh, this will see me through my life by playing music?
It becomes a point in when you are making music that you know, when you're young, it's all about getting out on the road, doing gigs, getting high, you know, drinking, having fun. But it comes a point when you're not a kid anymore, and you have to. It's called the music business, you know, because it's a business and it has to be run like a business. Because if it isn't, people aren't going to be able to buy your albums. They're not going to come and, you know, see you at shows. They're not going to buy your T-shirt. So it's you know, and we're not kids, you know, none of us are kids anymore, and we've all got children, we've all got responsibilities, so it has to be run like a business.
I don't imagine you sort of thought that was going to happen when you started off, and that you'd be able to be in the fortunate position of being 30 years.
Care when you're a kid, do you? You just, you know, you're out there doing it and having fun, like I said.
Yeah.
Things have changed so many times, not just changed since we were young. It's just changed again. You know what I mean? God knows when the live situation is going to be back to where it was, where people feel comfortable going to a live gig. It's not about the promoters and about the venues putting a gig on. It's about, do people feel comfortable being crushed without many sweaty people? And I saw there was someone doing a film of a rave, and everyone was kind of strapped into their own little area. And if you go to a rave and you pop a pill and you've got your own little area, it could work. I can see you just losing your mind and just enjoying that. A rock gig, being told you can't move from there, it's...
I mean, I must admit, the last place I want to be right now is in a sweaty pit at a rock gig. Yeah, absolutely not.
It's...
You know, it's things are changing all the time, and I think the reason why the Wildhearts still manage to last and will continue to last is because of the strength of the songs and how good we are at playing them live. It's always been the test of any band that I've ever cared about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the live thing is the final like piece of the puzzle, and if you can't pull it off live, then you know you haven't, you know, you have to be on stage, you have to be doing it, and just, you know, and we're still a good live band, you know, might be blowing our own trumpet, but we still, you know, we still give it so much passion on stage, and, you know, all our fans can testify to that. And anyone who comes to see us, they don't see a bunch of lazy people on stage, they see people just sweating and giving it some, you know, ang.
And so do they, because when you're on tour and you're just getting loads and loads of like messages from people after every gig going, I can't hear, I can't walk. A great time. And like, we're going to do it tonight. You know what I mean?
I've got to say it, Ginge. I've got to say it. All I get is people saying they can't hear my guitar.
You seem to have a knack of being able to write incredibly infectious, well-written, melodic rock songs. Is it something that comes easy to you? I mean, the new album is packed with them. Is that something that you find easy, or is it? It doesn't seem to have taken years, because you, even at the beginning, you did the same thing.
Yeah, we've always the bands that we like, that I was mentioning before, are all bands that my little boy's getting into, and it's not like I'm kind of forcing him to listen to this stuff, and he's getting off on the fact that there's great melodies. It's timeless, it's ageless. We hooked upon a good formula, and even if we go and make our next album, and it's, you know, as aggressive as Discharge, we're still going to be called a melodic band. You know what I mean? We can't get away with it. And I think it's like, there could be worse things to be labelled as, you know. Yeah, tunes are good. There's nothing better. Even when you're on tour and you're tired and you can't be arsed anymore, and you go on stage and people start singing the songs back to you, you know, just Dr. Gig, as Danny calls it, it just solves every problem.
Indeed, indeed. How important are the lyrics in your songs? So I've noticed in the new album, you have a lyric sheet inside the vinyl. You seem to take a lot of care with the lyrics, and they seem to be pushed with a message and so on. Has your lyric writing changed, and have you always thought they're important?
I think, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I've only started hearing like CJ's lyrics really, you know, shocking me with how honest they are. And I think we've both grown a bit like that, because I was always angry. I wasn't really aware of what I was angry about. I was just angry. And now that we've got something to actually be pissed off about, and quite a lot of things, you know, I think the lyrics are the most important part, I think, because it describes who you are, and it shows how you're going to age as well, because, you know, there's nothing going to stunt a band's growth than listen back to the first or second albums and the lyrics are all about girls and cars. You know, we never ever wanted to write about that sort of stuff. We always wanted to write.
I mean, it's there's a lot of fuel around to pour on our fire at the moment, and you know, like the stuff I'm working on now, the new stuff, which hopefully some of it will end up on the next Wildhearts album. You know, it's fueled by an anger by what's going on around us, but it's taken. There's a lot of you can turn that into something good. It's like, i.e., we'll make this powerful, angry album, but it'll be something for people to come to a show and just go batshit crazy to, and you know. We're not kids, and one thing I do not want to do is slow down and you know, start doing acoustic stuff. And you know, the odd acoustic show is good, but I don't want to make acoustic albums. I want to go out on fucking fire.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, me and CJ, we always surprise ourselves at how much we enjoy playing acoustic gigs, because believe me, we'd sign anything to not have to do them gigs as soon as they're booked, because we both hate playing acoustic guitars.
The gigs are enjoyable, but no, it's not what we're about. We're not a folk band. It's high energy, man. It's like it's got to take your face off. Has to.
It's noise, man. So we were brought up around the right time. We were brought up with Motorhead and Ramones and Damned and noisy bands. And, when anyone tells us we're being too loud, we got a complaint from Motorhead's road crew once that we were playing too loud on stage. And I said, thank you. And he said, no, I mean it. And I went, no, I mean it. Thank you.
We've had a lot of complaints from other artists. I remember, who was it? Kirsty MacColl, was it? She complained.
Oh, bless her. Kirsty MacColl.
Yeah.
But she complained about us a lot.
Yes, and I remember on Top of the Pops one, Charlotte Church as well complained about us being too loud. But all the best.
You know what it is? And here's some advice for young bands who might be going out there. We were always told to turn the guitars down and the sound man will sort it out front. Now, there was loads of bands. There wasn't loads of great sound men. And we were just like, there's one thing we insist on is that our guitars are loud. So we made our guitars so loud, he had to fight to make the rest of the band heard. So that provided, A, we were the loudest band and we had the loudest guitars, but B, we learned to sing without hearing ourselves.
Yeah.
We kind of learned to shout in harmony, only because of the amount of volume that was up. And now we never lose our voices on tour, and we can, we got really good at singing. So it's
we don't actually lose our voices that much when we talk.
No, God, I don't know how to sing.
No.
I'm got a clue. I just open it and stuff comes out. I was listening to, because I haven't listened to whatever that song was that you opened up with. I haven't heard that for ages. The last time we played it, obviously. Yeah. And I'm just like, God, that's a lot of passion for a bunch of old bastards. You got to see that.
Actually, the ending of Dislocated is just so like bombastic. It's great. It's good.
Yeah. It's great. We still love it loud, and we mean it.
Cheers, Jim.
Sorry. Yeah. Here's a question coming from Sarah in north of Ireland. She says, "Is there any truth that you met Courtney Love at some point?" I think Ginger, that was just directed to.
He was playing in a band.
Yeah, I was playing with a band. I met her every day.
Tell us a bit about it. I misunderstood that.
Yeah, she's lovely. Yeah, she's really nice. She's very misunderstood and misrepresented. And she's just a very, very kind, very funny, very, obviously, as you can imagine, very streetwise, and takes no amount of shit off anyone. And she's just like you hope Courtney Love's going to be. But she's not really like she's not shouting her orders around all the time and everything. And she left the band to arrange the songs. It was good. She's great.
Excellent. Thank you. Do you, either of you, remember, because the first time I encountered you was when you were opening for the Manics on their first album tour. Do any of you have either of you, any memories of that? I think I may have asked you before and you said you couldn't remember.
Yeah, lots. Yeah. It was a long time ago, that. Bam was in the band then.
He was, yeah.
Remember is it Matt?
Mab on the guy's forehead. We learned a lot about how to be. We'd done tours before, and it was with bands like Wolfsbane and Diamond Head and stuff like that. And it was fun. We had lots and lots of fun. And then we toured with the Manics, and it was just like, oh man, this is actually fucking shit. The audience hate us, And
we had a hard time, didn't we? A really hard time of the audience.
Yeah. But we learned how to hold our own on that tour, And after that, it was just like, we can go on any stage and just whatever you've got, we'll beat you.
Yeah.
And it was we learned a lot of streetwise stuff with the Manics that bands have to. There's only one way to learn it, and it's through having a hard time.
Yeah, when you have a hard time like nearly every night on a tour, you can either you either use it to push you on and go like, yeah, fuck you guys, have some of this, or you can like run back to the changing room and have a pot noodle and a cup of tea.
Yeah, I'm getting a proper job. Like I say, we've known a lot of people, both personally and just by hanging out in London, who gave up, because this is not a business for people with thin skin. You know, it's, you take the criticism too seriously, you take the audience reaction too seriously, you're screwed, because it'll get in your head. And you know, we've got a fair share of mental health problems batting around in the wild horse. But one thing we've never suffered from is lack of confidence. No. I think we always understood that we had something to offer. Still like that, you know.
Good.
Still like that.
So when you look back at your career, and not saying you, which bits do you look back with particular pride and maybe particular embarrassment, if any?
Well, there's tons of embarrassing moments.
Do you want to share it?
I don't think there's a musician or artist in the world who doesn't have any embarrassing moments. But you know, like pride. I mean, there's lots of moments where you know you just kind of feel good. I mean, the first time when we played Donington, that was great. When we first headlined the Forum, that was really good. First time we went on Top of the Pops, that was an equal amount of embarrassment and really good.
Yeah.
The James Well radio show, that was embarrassing.
Yeah, that was great.
You know,
he just cut us off because we smashed all the gear up. One of my proudest moments was getting the sound cut at Download.
Oh God, yes, that was brilliant.
You know, we'd been contracted to play for 45 minutes, and Scott had just joined the band. We didn't have 45 minutes worth of material, and we just come to the last song when they cut us off, and I was just like, oh, thank fuck for that. But we got the audience to start throwing stuff on the stage, because when we were kids, that's what people did at festivals.
Yeah.
And none of the rest of the band were doing it. They were all trying to go, oh, stop it, stop throwing stuff. And we were going like, if it ain't nailed down, get the fucker up here. And it was, the joy just seeped through the audience like you know, the sun coming up. You could just see their faces just going like, oh, this is great fun. Because it is great fun, chucking loads of crap at a band.
But, I mean, they said we, because we got escorted off for inciting a riot.
Inciting a riot, yeah.
That wasn't a riot. People throwing mud and piss around.
No, in our day, that was a good gig.
Yeah.
Riot. Christ almighty.
In a similar vein, what's the biggest lie that's ever been told about you in the press, if you can remember it?
The biggest what?
The biggest lie that the press has ever told about you. That's a question that's come in from Sarah.
Christ almighty.
There was a rumor really early on that I'd died.
That was quite big.
Remember that?
No.
I'm sure they mentioned it in Kerrang or some magazine said that I died. Yeah. Rumor going around.
How was that? How did that feel?
Well, when I died.
Yeah. Was anything on the other side?
I didn't die. I was in where was I? Lanzarote or something, having a beer. That's what it felt like. It? Yeah, that's what it's like when you die. You're in Lanzarote, having a beer.
Heaven. Lanzarote is heaven. I'd be happy with that.
Right now, I'd love. God, imagine that, being on the beach in Lanzarote with a cold beer.
Hey, I tell you what, it's gorgeous here.
It's like I've been sat out in the sun for a couple of hours.
Oh. So lovely. But it's funny. I just because I haven't seen CJ for ages. I actually can't wait to get back together with the lads and do something.
It'll be really nice. Yeah, I mean, it's when was the last gig we did? It was like in February, wasn't it? I think it was February. We did that punk rock thing in Butlins.
Yeah, there was that. The last tour we were on, I pre-ordered the Sparks album on the last tour we were on. Fucking still hasn't come out yet.
Did you order it from China? Because that takes a long time.
You know, China's quicker than the fucking UK for now. I'm ordering loads of stuff from China and it turns up
coming through quicker, yeah.
Ian's still waiting for a dress she ordered months ago. From Bleeding Birmingham. 2 months ago.
Lots of admiration for Ginger's t-shirt coming in. Lots of people like your t-shirt.
Oh man, CJ, did you see what happened today? That HR's doing a GoFundMe campaign.
No way.
Really? He can't afford to pay his rent.
Really?
HR.
Wow. Oh god, that's really bad.
That's a punk rock legend.
Mm.
You know?
That's quite sad to hear that. People like that shouldn't have to do things.
No, they should have people saying, I'll give you some money. Green Day should say, I'll give you a load of money.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here without you lot.
Yeah, you know, he knows enough people, man. They should help him out.
Yeah.
Definitely help him out.
But he is a bit crazy.
Man. Come on.
That's another band we used to listen to a lot together, was Bad Brains.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of acid and listen to them, Bad Brains.
Oh, God. Beginning the quickness.
I'm having a flashback. I'm going mental. God. And the Cardiacs as well. I mean, shit. Remember that bad trip I had once watching Mare's Nest?
Yeah, I do.
It sent me a bit crazy. I still love them, though. Still love them.
Well, Cardiacs was always a little bit threatening or a little bit weird or scary. And you couldn't tell why, because they're all kind of funny, cartoony characters. But there was something very dark about it.
Yeah, really. I've been listening to a lot of the Cardiacs recently. A lot of it. I mean, God, they're so good.
Time will tell that the Cardiacs were just far too good to make it, because you don't need that much skill to make it these days. Put it this way, Puddle of Mud are making more money than Cardiacs.
Yeah, you don't need that much.
All you need to know.
As we're talking about money, this is a free event, but we've got a link at the top for the crowdfunder for the NHS Together charity, which, as Ginger suggested, if anybody's got, I know a lot of people are already stuck for money at the moment, but if anybody can afford to give anything for the people that have been doing their best to keep us safe, there's a link in the top of this video.
Brilliant.
Is it all right? Have you got some time to do a bit of nostalgia? I was going to share some old photos I've got from my scrapbook. Are you all right with that, you two?
Yeah, I'm good.
Right. Yeah, if you want to comment on them, you can do. If you don't want to comment, I'll just move to the next one. So there's the first one.
What's the first? Where is he? It's gone.
Is it there?
Yeah, I can see it.
I can't see. I've got a big white screen. Jane, can you come and be in my brain?
Well, it's while you're looking, it is Ginger in 1994 at the Corn Exchange in Cambridge.
I can see my old Les Paul.
You might need to get rid of him.
Hi, Jane. How you doing?
How you doing?
I haven't seen you in ages. This is more like a catch-up than an interview, isn't it?
All right.
Yeah,
you just need to move
weird.
that along.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We'll go. What's that? The Newcastle scarf?
Yeah, that was Cambridge Corn Exchange, 1994. That's the first time I was given a proper photo pass, and they warned me about all the pyros that were going to go off, and they certainly did.
Good picture.
So that was the first one.
I think that was our first. Breakup tour.
Was it?
I seem to remember that's a first farewell tour.
That's the same gig. Now that's Danny with the fanzine.
Is that the same gig?
It's the same gig. Danny did an interview with us before the gig. That's upstairs at the Corn Exchange with our issue 4 of our magazine.
That's obviously Photoshop because Danny's reading.
He's also looked healthy as well.
He's awake.
Let's see what's next. I can't remember. Oh, now where is that? I think that's Edinburgh.
Ginge? It doesn't even look like Ginge.
I used to look like much more of an alcoholic back then than I do now after drinking for 55 years.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. I did look like... Oh, look at Danny with his Johnny Thunders haircut. Oh, Danny looks cool there.
He does.
94-ish. Maybe 95. I think that's
great there. That's a great picture.
That is Ipswich. I don't know how, I remember going to that gig, but I've labelled it Ipswich.
That's not.
That isn't.
I was an ugly kid.
Are these pictures you've taken?
No.
Mostly, yeah.
No,
yeah.
Look at the hair.
Look at the hair. I used to
leave
cut
him alone.
In my own defence, I used to cut my own hair, and no one can do the back of their own hair.
Why would you ever cut your own hair?
I don't know. Oh, that's a good picture.
There was some debate. When is this from? I think it was the Fishing for Lucky's promo I was sent. Do you think, is that about right date?
That was like when we used to always just be stoned all the time, and that's one of those really stoned ones. You can tell how many drugs we used to take by Richie's haircut.
You don't think you should have got, should you not?
But I had I got a lovely bootlace tie and a lovely jacket, country jacket. So I was definitely doing me Jason the Scorchers kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice jacket, yeah.
Cowboy outfits, and Jason's got like a white suit on,
Yeah,
tie,
that's
and
right.
like a cowboy hat.
Oh, Jason's massive. Well,
And that was
right,
2007 at the Junction in Cambridge. That's when I proudly put you on for Love Music Hate Racism.
what an ugly man.
That was the tour, and that was the tour 2007. That was with Scott, wasn't it? That was the White Album tour. That was such a great tour.
What am I wearing? What's that? What does it say on that T-shirt?
Love Music Hate Racism.
Love.
I'm going to the toilet.
Oversharing there, CG. Oversharing.
So
What?
that was the gig. That was the flyer for that gig, actually. For Love Music Hate Racism.
I remember that gig. Yeah, I do.
It was organised at quite late notice. It was put on the end of the tour.
Yeah, I do. I remember the Love Music Hate Racism, and
That's
just
what the
going around
t-shirts
with loads and loads of really cool stalls, and
Yeah.
giving away really cool badges and stuff. Back when people used to care about stuff.
Oh, we still do that. I'll do gigs like that in Swansea today.
Good. Because I always remember that was my favourite part of going to see small punk bands. What was that? That CJ?
That's CJ.
I try and make that bigger.
That is CJ with the skinhead.
CJ is one of the few people in the world that actually looks good with a skinhead. I mean, it's a hard one to pull up. My son's getting a skinhead tomorrow, aren't you?
Or a mohawk.
You're going to look like this.
Yeah. You've had a mohawk.
You know, like
didn't you?
5.
Get a skinhead.
Give me a break.
It's easier to do. That's a good
That's
one.
the
Don't
best.
tell him, but CJ is the only. Oh, he's back.
Is he back? I'll make this one bigger for him so he can see it before he can move on.
I can see it.
This is possibly you.
It is me, yeah.
I'm getting a skinhead tomorrow.
Oh, yeah?
Just like that.
I've seen a lot of kids with skinheads because they're all the barbers are shut, aren't they? So,
Yeah.
a lot of kids.
Oh, there's honey crack.
In
Is that,
I
yeah,
think
is it,
the jellies, I think that is. The
was it
jelly.
jelly?
Portland
Oh, the
Arms. I recognise that curtain anywhere. Portland Arms, Cambridge. Me and
Portland
Jasper,
Arms.
that one.
Yeah, because I remember I was saying to you, because we only ever played a pub once it's the only time I've ever played a pub in Cambridge, because I've always done the medium-sized gigs there. So I remember the gig. I do remember the gig.
I remember those curtains.
That was when you were in your short spell as a model, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Remember that? There was a picture that I kept for years of you with your guitar in a case, and you had your trousers off, and there was just something so Monty Python about it. I just loved it.
What magazine was that in?
Don't remember. It was like a fashion kind of,
Oh God, I did a few.
something.
All through, like even when I was a kid, people always used to ask, "Will you do photographs or and stuff like that?" And I used to turn down a lot. But I remember in the 80s, Athena. You remember the calendars, Athena?
Yeah.
They were always hassling me to do one with another like Asian girl, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it. It's not my thing. Not my thing.
I'd do one now. We'd be like, what was that film with Helen Mirren? Where the old the calendar.
What with
The girls? She would do a naked calendar.
No.
For
what
charity.
with like fruit and vegetable like
Yeah,
positions, like
strategically placed to cover your bollocks and your cock and your arsehole.
This one here was submitted by Gordon Armstrong. It's made of 300 little pictures, all taken at the same gig, stuck together into one big picture from the Riverside, which is incredible. I mean, you probably can't see it on a computer, but it's 300 little pictures all stuck together to make that one big one.
That's
clever.
more work than we put into the last album.
that's really clever.
Incredible.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Thanks, Gordon, for sending that in.
Really good. Oh, Gordon's great. He's a great live photographer as well. He's one of
Oh,
those
Big
guys
Gordon from
Yeah.
Newcastle.
Gordon from Newcastle.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's one of the best, man. Oh, the guy's awesome.
He's like
wow.
True Unite. They'll wait for the shot and they'll just wait there to get that shot. Is that
Yeah.
Honey?
Yeah, it's funny.
He's Honeycrack in Bedford.
No, it's Willie.
That's Willie. Yeah,
it's
it is Willie.
Yeah.
God, I haven't seen Willie in ages, man.
Oh,
God, look at my eyes, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that
Heard of a few too many peppermint teas before that show. I'm telling you.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's Honeycrack in Bedford, if I've got that right. I'll shoot by that one. These are all modern ones. And this is what we're raising money for, the
Excellent.
appeal. Was there one more picture? There's that, which I used. There's one more I wanted to show thee.
Oh, I love that shot.
I love this one because you're saying about still having the energy in the shows.
Yeah.
I love that. Look at that. Who do you know who took that? It's fantastic.
See the whole pictures. I mean, I look at the picture because it's us.
Yeah, you need to just
But
pinch it in a bit.
it won't let me see. It doesn't matter because you know what? I know we both look bitching.
Really good picture. I don't know who took that, but whoever did is brilliant.
Fantastic, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, so much action in that. Love it.
We photograph all right for a bunch of old.
Yeah, we do. A bunch of old timers.
I think that might be on those pictures for now. Lucky for you. I think you're pretty relieved about that. Okay, are you all right to keep going a bit longer?
Yeah, I'm all right for another few minutes.
Yeah. Thanks, people. There's loads of people watching. I am taking notice of the messages. I'm trying to ask as many questions as I can. Here's an interesting one that made me laugh for Ginger. He says, "I know you're a big fan of Half Man, Half Biscuit. How much have they inspired your own lyric writing?"
Oh, they've definitely made me realise that good lyrics are better than bad lyrics. I mean, they're one of them bands that just constantly, like Sparks, constantly amaze me with how they can find new subjects to write about after, God, you know, however many albums in their career, 30 albums into their career, they're still finding ways to talk about things in a way that you've never heard it put before in a song. And that inspires me very, very much about lyrics. I'm a bit of a snob, and I'm a big fan of Marky Smith and a big fan of, Half Man, Half Biscuit. And people have just thought that the words were important, and also give it had a northern feel about it. And I think that's really great. Like John Cooper Clarke's a massive inspiration. It's just because it's northern and it doesn't give a fuck, and I love that.
Question for CJ. I've lost the question because it came in right at the start and there's so many hundreds of comments, but it was something along the lines, it was about tattooing, and I think he said he was a 48-year-old man and he wants to start to get tattoos. What would you advise for an older man wanting to start to be inked?
Oh, I mean, I didn't get my first major tattoo till my son arrived, and I was 46. So, it's like five years ago. I mean, he's almost 6 now, and just go for it, but don't hold back. You're at an age where you just shouldn't give a flying fuck about what you're doing, what you look like, and don't get something small. Just go for it. I mean, I've got a real tattoo bug now, and it hit me when I was a bit older, but don't hold back, man. Just get everything tattooed, your face, your tongue. Don't sue me when it goes wrong.
Go big. A lot of the mistakes I made when I started getting tattoos is I started getting little doodads all over the place, and it just looks like I've got some weird rash now.
Cards.
It's like it's just a mess. If you've got loads and loads of free skin, go big and get to the best places that you can afford to go. But don't get little tattoos.
Like the stack of cards.
Like my stack of cards was my first tattoo.
I still don't see why you didn't get a black ace of spades. It doesn't make sense. Why?
Because I was a Kiss fan, and Kiss fans are weird.
But you also.
I was a massive Motorhead fan. Anyway, it's not about me. It's about
Here's a good question for both of you. When you're songwriting, how do you know if it's a Wildhearts song or for one of your other projects? What makes a Wildhearts song different?
There's a kind of anger and power to the Wildhearts stuff. Is like. Actually, my solo stuff is getting a lot more punkier and kind of industrial and more aggressive sounding. But there's, when a song is more suited to the Wildhearts, it has a certain, thing about it. It's more angry and more powerful and just kind of has a bigger boots on it.
And we're really good at, we're really good at doing complicated stuff. But I think we shine better when we play simple stuff. When we can just play one chord and it just goes. There's not many bands can make that sound exciting. And we still do it really well. So I think that's it. We're not always trying to push ourselves as musicians. We're more of a fan of punk music, and I'm just happy that we're really good at playing it. You know,
I think when bands eventually do start playing live again, people are gonna just want to go crazy. They're not going to be watching prog and watching people's fingers.
The ballads are out. The solos are out.
You're just gonna want to have like a few drinks and just go fucking crazy. I mean, and that's what, you know, that's why you need us.
Right. I'll tell you what. Our first gig back is going to be insane. Insane.
I mean, you know, as I said, there's some benefits have actually come from the disaster, which is, you know, engulfed the world. And one of those things is making a lot of people realize just how lucky they were before everything stopped, and make you appreciate, you know, especially myself. I really appreciate the fact that I am a musician and I do play in the Wildhearts. And when I come back to do a gig, it's going to be religious for me. And I'm not going to wear robes or anything or crucify myself, but you know what I mean. It's going to be an experience.
A couple of people have asked if there's any chance of an online gig. Is that anything you'd entertained?
Well, acoustic?
I don't know. It says online.
Get out. No. Now, leave. You're dead to me, whoever asked that question.
Somebody else says, I know there's 2 or 3 people from America. I know there's problems with going to America. Is there any chance you're ever going to get to Canada or America?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I've got a criminal charge that I'm hoping is going to be gone 1 more year, and then we can tour the whole world again. So yeah.
Fantastic.
We were due to go to South America later in this year, and that is a place both me and Ginge desperately want to go to. So hopefully next year.
Yeah. So we'll do another 10 minutes if that's all right, because I know you've been here for a long time and people are really enjoying it and appreciating it.
Yeah, cool.
One thing that's very important to me, because I promote young bands in small venues and so on, is music has obviously suffered a lot over this period because small venues are struggling to survive and bands haven't got anywhere to play. Smaller bands are really struggling to pay the bills. What do you think? I mean, it's made me realise that music isn't just a luxury. It's really a part of who you are and about your own mental health and being able to express yourself and being happy. It's not just a luxury. What can we do to help ensure that music continues and not just for the Rolling Stones and massive bands like that?
That's a hard one.
The future, I know everyone wants to get involved financially and wants to give you some money and stuff like that, but that's not what the future music's about, and definitely not for us. Obviously, you need money to pay the bills, but our thing is always about being putting together the best bill that we possibly can, and the show starts when the first band go on, and we always have a 3-band bill. And I think what seems pretty obvious to me is to put big bills on again when it starts kicking off, to give people a little bit of a thanks for sticking with us and getting big bills, like, you know, having Metallica with, you know, Cavell Attack and the Wildhearts and, you know, Stiff Little Fingers, just a mad mixed bill that'll just kill every single night and make people appreciate. If it goes back to being a NoFX, yeah, I'd love to play with NoFX. But if it's going to go back to just a bunch of promoters trying to rip people off and a bunch of crappy bills that start when the headline band goes on, because you could barely hear the support band, then that's what was killing the scene in the first place. If you remember, before this kicked on, the scene was dying. Yeah. Venues were dying. It's not because of the coronavirus that venues are struggling. It's because of the shitty bills that people have been putting on.
So there is, I mean, it's change afoot, and it's, yeah, as Ginger said, it's not just because of this the virus, you know, and you know, things are going to change, and hopefully they'll change for the better. But everyone has to adapt. You know, you can't be stuck in the past, because that's been and gone. There's a new future ahead of us, and you know, who knows what it's going to bring.
And we just need everyone's best. When things start getting back to some semblance of normality, we need everyone's best. You know, no more of those wankers getting drunk and, you know, picking fights with people, or I've heard of people, you know, touching up girls in gigs. That stuff's got to be policed from the audience, you know. That's, again, it's like, you're not going to fuck this up for us now, not this time.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. Yes. Good point. Two more questions from me then, I think. Earth versus the Wildhearts. Who won, Earth or the Wildhearts?
I think the Wildhearts are winning right now.
You don't have to ask that question anymore. But yeah, we've always been the only ones that we know that are doing really well. You know, even if one of us loses a leg, it's like, you know, we're still positive about things and stuff. The Earth is never been, you know, more of a screwed up state. There's no trust, there's no love, there's no compatibility. Humanitarian issues are out the window. People were having a go at a little girl who was talking about climate awareness just before this happened. I mean, the world is a shit tip. The Wildhearts are great. The Wildhearts won.
Good answer. Good answer. Have you? I know you've done several cover versions in your history. Have you got any plans for any more? I'm thinking about Billy Joe with his No Fun Mondays. What about a Wildhearts No Fun Monday?
Billy Joe's what?
He's been releasing a cover version every Monday.
Is he? No idea.
There have been quite obscure things like I've quite like Starjets.
There's always room for covers. All bands like doing covers, don't they? I mean, it's.
Have you got any in the pipeline?
Not right now. It's all about new music, right now. But I'm sure we'll be doing covers at some point again. We've done a few.
Well, we did an album full of cover versions.
Oh, yeah, we did, didn't we?
That quite inspired the question, yes.
I'd like to do another one of them. I'd like to do another one of those, an album full of cover versions, but like when the time's right.
I'd love to do another cover version album. Yeah, definitely.
We love so many bands that aren't big, and that was the reason why we did the first one. So people go, "Oh, I've never heard this before," and it's
sends people back to the original
to give something back.
Yeah, definitely. So diagnosis is obviously quite a lot about mental health. The current situation. Have you got any advice about the best way for people to keep their heads straight? It's a really hard time for a lot of people.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to pass that over to CJ. I'm not very, I don't know.
There's, it's really hard giving any advice out when you're dealing with something like mental health. But, all I can do is speak from my own experience and how I deal with it. And, I had to, I've not suffered as much as most, but I've had some severe bouts of depression and anxiety, and recently as well, as long as a year ago, I came off citalopram, which I'd been on for a couple of years, and I had a few things going wrong in my life, but I've come through it. And the way I dealt with it is I had to knock how much I was drinking on the head. I had to knock how many, I haven't taken like serious drugs in over a decade now. And that's the way I deal with it. I've got to eat healthily, exercise a little bit. And, but everyone has a different way of finding a way to deal with it, But I think a lot of people are taking it really seriously now. Yeah. And that's what matters. It is on the radar, and it's being taken seriously. You're not just written off as, go and cheer up, have a sandwich.
Yeah, that's over now. I'm always really surprised at how well CJ handles this kind of thing, because he deals with a lot, and he just floats through life like Casper the Zen ghost. And I'm a bit more kind of fiery and a bit more of a pain in the arse to be around. Or the only thing I could say to everyone is just make sure that you just tell people that you love them, and get to bedtime. Just make it to bedtime.
There's comments coming in, messages coming in from people saying that both of you have helped them in difficult situations, and that they really appreciate what you've done. So that's really good to hear, isn't it?
It's really nice to hear.
Yeah.
There is a constant comment from one person who's very persistent, who says play Sky Babies. So I thought I should pass that on. I can't remember who said that. It's been coming in every minute.
Well,
I'm sorry I haven't been able to ask all the questions. Maybe if the guys get a chance after, they can look back over the Facebook interview. The video is going to stay on Facebook, and if either of you want to answer any of the questions, you'll be there for months.
Brilliant.
Great having so many people watching.
Let's just do it again.
Yeah, I'll be well up for doing this again. But I really appreciate you giving us your time, and it's been. Hey, Ginge, it's been really, really nice catching up with you, man.
Yeah, and you, mate, and you.
So,
It's been too long, man.
You know,
It really has.
it's weird.
I've got one more question. I've got the final
one more question.
The repeat question that I've asked everybody for 26 years. I've asked you twice before that, Means, but you may have changed. What's best, chips or cream buns?
What?
Chips or cream buns?
Chips.
Chips.
What are chips?
Chips. Oh my God. Does anyone ever say cream buns?
I need to look back through my old issues and check cross-reference to make sure you haven't changed your mind over the years.
Oh no, I think chips are magic.
Chip or chips?
Chips.
Chips.
Chips, like as in fish and chips.
Yes, without.
I thought you said chib, as in like, isn't a chip like when you chip someone, you stab them?
Getting shoved in the prison.
I'm gonna chip you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna chip you on the Stony Bridge.
That was the most important question, obviously. Thank you for your time, guys. Thanks very much.
Hey, man, thank you very much.
Enjoyed it.
Right.
Everybody says they want you to do it again. So thanks to
it was fun. It was fun.
Thanks to Ben for arranging it, your manager, for being so easy to get hold of and to email him back and sorting it for us. And I will be posting this up on YouTube for anybody who hasn't got Facebook. But if you haven't got Facebook, you won't know I'm saying that. So that's the pointless me saying that. Thanks very much, everybody. And I'm going to
hopefully I'll see you soon. Okay.
Yes. Keep safe, everybody.
Brilliant, man. Everyone, I love you. Bye.
You all see you soon.